Hi, friends. Thank you for joining me again here today. We are going to do a practice to help boost digestion or making the digestive system perform more effectively and efficiently. In Ayurveda, which is the sister science to yoga, it is believed that a healthy digestion is the underlying cause for all health and well being. So, if our digestive system is not working properly, we're not able to assimilate nutrients into our body, and there's toxins left over, creating more disease and unease. So, the best way to do this is keeping the digestion strong, the digestive system healthy for better health and wellness. For this practice, we're going to use a block and also a blanket. You may use pillows if you like to, um, but if you do use pillows, make sure that they're firm pillows so you can stack them on top of another. And then go ahead and put your props to the side for just a moment, and we're going to start lying down on our backs. As you lie down on your back, putting your feet flat on the floor, knees are bent, and just begin to notice your natural rhythm of your own breathing. Make sure that the spine is long, the back of the neck is long. And without really changing your breath, just notice your natural rhythm, your inhalations, your exhalations. And then notice any emotions, your thoughts. Notice your mood, any sensations in the body. And then now gently begin to make your breath smooth. So you don't have to really do deep, complete, long inhales or exhales, but just allow the breath to be smooth and uninterrupted. So take the edges out of the breath. Just let the breath flow smoothly. There's no hold or pause or retention of the breath anywhere. The inhales happen on their own and the exhales happen on their own. Just natural breathing, natural smooth breathing. And stay with this for a little bit longer. And then gently begin to take your blanket and you're going to fold the blanket a little bit more so you make it a nice thick square, and put that thick square blanket or pillow between your knees. And then as you press down through the bottom of your feet, shift your hips over to the left and let your knees come over to the right. So you're in a nice gentle twist. It's not your deepest twist ever. Just let the body soften in this twist. Let your knees stack on top of another with the blanket or the pillow in between your knees. And then let the shoulders rest on the floor. And continue with that smooth breathing. There's no forcing the breath, there's no shaping the breath in any way. Just a nice inhalation and nice exhalations in and out. And kind of feel that your inhalations are being received with an open belly. So let the belly be soft as you inhale. Feel the belly expand. And then as you exhale, you can even exhale out of an open mouth. Letting yourself feel really, really relaxed in this present moment. Inhaling through the belly, feel the belly expand, and exhale out through an open mouth. Let it go. Inhaling, feel the belly expand. Feel the belly receive your breath, and exhale. Exhaling through an open mouth and releasing. Releasing any tension in the belly, any hold in the belly, in the low back. And then gently we're going to come back to the center with your inhalation and shift your hips over to the right and let your knees go over to the left. Again, this is not a very deep twist, so really stack the pillows or the blankets in between the knees. And in this way, you can let the shoulders soften towards the earth. Feel a nice opening on that right side. Feel the right side of the belly expand with each inhalation. And feel yourself softening with each exhalation. See what it feels like to really just relax and let go, not having to push to go further or deeper. And as you rest here, just notice how relaxing just this one pose is, letting your internal organs relax. Gently begin to bring the knees back to the center, putting your blanket to the side, and then draw your knees towards your chest, putting both hands on your kneecaps. As you exhale, draw the knees closer to your chest. With your inhalation, press the knees away so that your elbows become straight. This is called Apanasana, and it's not only very therapeutic for your low back, but it also helps you energize the apana, that downward movement that proper digestion requires. So letting the inhalation extend the knees away, and let the exhalation draw the knees towards your chest. And just move through this with your own breath. In our yoga practice, we have what's called the prana, which is an upward movement of the breath, and apana, which is a downward movement of energy and breath. So this particular pose is for downward movement, apanasana. Just a couple more times with your own breath, nice and deep. And then gently begin to bring your feet back down to the earth, rolling over to one side. We're going to slowly come up to a seat. As you sit up, you want to take your blanket once again and then make it so that it's back in that bigger rectangle. And we're going to make a bigger roll of it. So face the shorter side of the rectangle towards you, and you're going to make a nice thick roll of the blanket. Let me just put this microphone away so that I can show you what's the best way to do this. So you go ahead and make a nice tight roll with the blanket. And then the roll is going to go, you're going to lie down sideways on top of the blanket. The roll is going to go right underneath the rib cage. Make sure it's not on top of the rib cage or your hips, but it's right below the lowest rib. So find your lowest rib. The blanket is going to go right there. And then you're just going to come down on your right side. Let's start with the right side first. And take your block, and the block is going to go under your head. So you can rest your head on top of the block. Your bottom arm, your right arm can just come to the floor in front of you, and your top arm, your left arm, can go above your head or wherever is comfortable. You can either keep the left hand above your head and let the arm just rest on your head, or you can bring it to the front or to your side, whatever is best for you. It's not really about stretching out the arm in this particular pose right now, but we want to feel an expansion on the left side of the torso. You may also choose to bring your left knee more towards the floor. So if your knees are stacked on top of another, you can move the top knee, the left knee, to the back of the right heel. And then just pause here, rest here. You can close your eyes. You may feel a nice stretch on that left side where the spleen and the stomach are. And then a nice compression on the right side where the liver is. Close your eyes. Let yourself really feel this pose. These yin poses are so wonderful in terms of quieting the body, stilling the body so that our mind can become stilled. And then we can just tune in. You drop in to really embody the pose and see what's happening inside, what's happening internally. You can begin to send your breath to the left side of your torso and feel as if your stomach and the spleen can actually smile. They have more space. Imagine your spleen smiling, your stomach smiling. Really appreciating this time that you've created for yourself, the space that you've created for yourself. And even though we can't really isolate our lungs, but see if you can just send your breath to that left lung. And then we're just going to slowly begin to come out of the pose and switch sides. So whatever works best for you, you can just roll on your back and go to the other side, or you can press yourself slowly back up to a comfortable seat and switch sides. I'm gonna just do that so I can still face the camera. So I'm gonna take my blanket over to the left side and find the lower ribs, the lowest rib on my left side, and then allow the blanket to be right on that space between the rib and the hip bone. And try and keep this on the side body, so you're not leaning back or front or forward. Just make sure that the blanket is resting comfortably on your side body. Now that right side where the liver is getting a nice expansion. You can do the same thing with the legs if you like to, putting your right knee behind the left heel. And then you can do the same thing with your right arm. You can just drape that arm over your head, or whatever is best for that arm. You can rest it wherever you want. Just begin to notice that expansion on the liver side. And imagine your liver smiling. Just appreciating this moment that you've created, this space you've created for the health and rejuvenation and restoration of the liver. Close your eyes and just bring your awareness back inside your body, softening any areas of tension. You may feel a nice compression on the spleen side on the left. And then this time, maybe you can send your breath to the right lung. Just imagining or visualizing your breath being directed to the right lung, expanding the diaphragm on the right side. Take one more nice inhalation and exhalation here, and with your next inhalation, you're just going to gently press yourself up, bringing the blanket with you. And this time, you're going to make a long roll from your blanket. So take it back into that rectangle and then make it a nice tight roll with the blanket. It's going to be longer than with the roll we just had. And you may need to try several times to find the right height or right depth for your blanket. The blanket is going to rest on your lower belly. So it's not going to be on your chest or your thighs. It's going to be right on the lower belly. And if you are pregnant, I would highly suggest that you skip this pose. This pose is definitely contraindicated for pregnancy. If you're on your moon cycle, it may actually feel good. See if whatever works best for you. But if you're pregnant, please don't do this pose. So the blanket is going to rest right on the lower belly. Your elbows are resting on the floor. You can rest your forehead on top of your block. And then just soften the shoulders. Make sure the shoulders are soft. You can let the shoulders be drawn your back, down your back, and then wiggle your hips a little side to side, making sure that the hips are not squeezing, that they're actually very relaxed. So the top of your feet are resting comfortably on the floor, the knees are resting comfortably on the floor, and then you feel that compression of the blanket in your low belly. So I'd like you to try as you inhale here, gently begin to, with the expansion in the belly, press onto the blanket. And then as you exhale, release any tension. You may even begin to feel the pulsation in the stomach, that very large artery that runs across your belly button. You can feel that pulsating. Each inhalation, feel that your breath is expanding the belly onto the blanket roll underneath your low belly. Let the head relax on the block or something that you can really just release any tension from the neck. So these yin poses are actually meant to stimulate the lines of meridian running through our body. Meridians are these river-like lines of energy that correspond to internal organs. So our stomach, our kidney, liver, spleen, lungs, heart, intestines. These all have lines of meridian. And each meridian has a yin and a yang corresponding internal organ. This particular meridian right now that we are stimulating is the stomach meridian that runs on top of your thigh through the front of your body. And the intention is so that as you stimulate these lines of meridian, you actually begin to release any stagnation that may be keeping the organs from performing as they should be. This is very much the thought behind the traditional Chinese medicine. Um, when they use acupuncture, the needle is put in on the lines of these meridians, so that if there is a stagnation in the flow of qi or energy, or that if one is deficient, then the acupuncture can create more of a flow. And this is the same practice that we do in yin, except without the needle. Now gently begin to come on up. You can either come to child's pose, or I actually like to lie down on my back after that particular pose. So come into just a brief shavasana, and you may feel this kind of a profusion of blood and digestive acids running through that entire mid torso. Just begin to feel and sense what you're feeling at this moment. Nice. Remember, you don't have to force your breath at any point. You're just a nice smooth breathing, nice smooth inhalations, and nice smooth exhalations. And then putting your feet flat on the floor, just roll over to one side and sit up. And then for the next one, I definitely suggest you use a blanket. We're going to come into a pose that's called garland pose or malasana, the yogic squat. The most important thing is to have your toes and knees be aligned, pointing this exactly the same way. That is truly the most important. Make sure that your knees are not coming together and your toes out to another direction. Make sure that whatever option you choose in this pose, that both knees and all the toes are facing the same way. So you can bring your knees together and toes straight forward if you like to, but if that's a little too difficult, you can take your toes out, knees out. And then if you find that your heels are off the ground, I suggest that you use a blanket. You can put the blanket under your heels, just like this. So you lift the heels up, putting the blanket under your heels, and you can rest in this pose right here. You can also use a block. If that's still too difficult, you can just sit on your block. So you come into a squat and you sit on your block and stay here. We're going to stay in this pose for 3 minutes. So I want you to get really comfortable. Get into a pose that you can hold for 3 minutes. So either choose a block or the blanket under your heels, or if you don't need the blanket, then you don't need the blanket. You can just stay in Malasana with your heels in, toes out, knees out. Then rest your triceps on top of your knees. And close your eyes. I'll mind the time for you. We're going to hold this for 3 minutes. So begin to return your awareness back to that nice smooth breath. Take the edges out of your breathing. There's no retention or no pause in the breath. Just let the breath flow. This is an incredibly wonderful pose to boost the power of elimination in our body, physical as well as mental elimination. Letting the gravity pull the hips down towards the earth. You may even begin to feel a nice elongation in the low back. If you find your mind wandering, just bring your awareness back to the breath. Stay with your breath. This is also a really great stretch for Achilles tendon. So if you're a runner and you tend to have tighter Achilles tendon, this is a fantastic stretch. It creates compression on the ankles and knees and hips. So as you stay here just for another few moments, you can really close your eyes, bring in your hands in prayer or whatever is going to help you stay for another few moments. We're more than halfway there. So just begin to breathe. Exhaling out through an open mouth. Let any tension release. And then slowly just sit back on your hips. Extend the legs straight out in front of you. And we're just going to lie down on our back, our final pose, Shavasana. So you can use your blanket as a pillow under your head to get really nice and comfortable. Let the toes move away from each other. Let your heels rest on the floor. Let your belly really feel the movements, the poses that you just experienced. Right now, you just want to integrate, your body wants to integrate everything that you've done this past 20 something minutes. So, see if you can really begin to let go. This is a really important part of digestion, allowing yourself to let go. And it's not just for physical elimination, but also mental elimination. Notice if you tend to carry mental chatter with you, maybe this is a good opportunity to allow yourself to release all the mental chatter. Allowing yourself, your mind, just like digesting your food and holding on to the nutrients and releasing the waste, your mind can do the same thing. Keep the important lessons and then release the waste, release what doesn't serve you any longer. Allow the arms to relax next to you. Palms are open to the sky. Letting everything soften towards the earth. Giving yourself permission to rest here for as long as you like to. Make this Shavasana an important part of your practice. If you like to continue with the rest of your day, you can begin to deepen your breath, wiggle your toes and fingertips, rotate your head side to side, and then gently bring one knee up to your chest and then the other knee up to your chest. Rolling over to one side, pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. Taking a nice deep inhalation, exhale, bringing your hands to your heart center. Thank you so much for joining me again. It's always a pleasure to share this practice with you. Namaste.